Peace and greetings, peace and greetings. Empress Itoy here. Is my mic on? Is my mic on? It feels so good to be back. Yes, like I said, this is Empress Itoy here with Don't Think Too Hard Mental Health Podcast. You're gonna see me make some mistakes. You're gonna see me laugh. You're gonna see me cry. This is a safe place. Like for instance, like I said, you're gonna see me make some mistakes, right? So this is a safe place, right? Let me tell you the troubles that I am going through right now at the moment. So I like to have different devices set up so I could like be multi-functioning and have everything going into accordance. But so I stream through my laptop because it's more powerful. But I like to use my iPad, as my assistant. But for some reason, the iPad does not let you mute the whole volume the whole way. So it's like there's a backlash, there's an echo that's going on. Just my damn luck. But like I said, you're gonna see me make mistakes. You're gonna see all that. So let me just turn this, close this tab out for now, so we don't have to hear that echo anymore. So anyway, let's get right to it. We have a wonderful show today. I'm so grateful. I have my mentor with me. His name is, I call him Brother Chandler. His name is El Haj Saladin. I'm going to get into his bio in a minute, but we have to open up with a prayer. Most High, I ask that you bless this podcast. You know the many challenges that I have with this podcast, especially with the echo that's going on in the background because of the iPad. But yet and all, we're gonna push through the roadblocks. We're gonna push through the blockages because when we doing your work, there's always going to be challenges. Um, please let my words flow through freely. Please give me the words to say out my mouth so that your children can be able to hear your message. For those who have an ear, let them hear. And let's also have fun. I get that from my other mentor, King Simon. He always said, keep it moving and just have fun. So with that being said, before we introduce my mentor, um, I was getting ready today, maybe about an hour ago, and I was going to put a little makeup on. And then I realized how my natural beauty just came through. Like, this is no filter, this is no makeup. I mean, I don't have on no lip gloss, no nothing. And I made a post about that. And the reason why I did that is because for the last few years, I was going, everybody know that's the reason why I create this podcast is because of the mental health challenges that I was going through with the anxiety and depression and things of that nature. I'm good now. But one of the things was insecurity. So when I'm not sure if anyone knows, but when you are going through a really depressed state in your and point in time in your life, you don't look the same anymore. You can see the stress and the depression and the hard life and the concrete jungle all over your face. And I used to look in the mirror and say, where is Etoy? Where is she? I don't see her anymore. And this whole year, I've been dedicating this whole year to me, meaning that whatever doesn't feel good to me, that whatever's not feeding my spirit, it has to go. I don't care what it is, who it is. If you're not adding anything positive to me, I have to say no to you and yes to me. So within these last few months, I've just been on a really, not I ain't gonna say strict, but I've been really taking care of me, and it shows. So I always have a message for the day. What are you doing for yourself? What are you saying no to? Are you saying no to yourself and yes to everything else? Or are you saying no to everything else and yes to yourself? When you look in the mirror, do you see you or do you see something else? Do you see an entity over you or do you see you? Are you happy with you see in the mirror? Because more times than not, we are not doing what we are supposed to do, meaning that we are not doing in this life what we are created, what we have been created to do. When we come to this earth, We signed a contract with the Most High. When your mother has her contractions, you're signing your contract about what you're going to be doing on this earth. So again, I always say, what is it that you would love to do? What is it that you can do? You can wake up every morning and do every day for free. What sings to your heart? And are you saying yes to you or no to you? Because if you are saying yes to you, I'm so grateful. If you're saying no to you, start saying yes to yourself. Practice that. I don't care if we give so much of our time each day to everyone else. We got to get up, go to work. If you're an entrepreneur, you know you're working 24 hours around the clock. If you have children, you really don't have no days off or no breaks. So sometimes you have to be able to say no. I need time for me, because if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be able to take care of anything else. So that was just my message for the day. So we're going to get right to it. I'm just so excited about this episode here. Like I said, we have he's going to be my co-host for the next 3 shows. This is my mentor. I've known him over 20 years. I'm about to pull up his bio. But we also have a special guest named Distruck from Yonkers. When me and him was talking last week, I said, wait a minute, this is going to be a good show. So on top of me having El Haj Saladin here as my co-host, this is going to be spectacular. So it is to my hope that you all get the healing that you need. Brother Saladin, he's very educated. He's very humble as well. I told him he need his own podcast for to get this information out, because he has been mentoring me for over 20 years. Half the books that I have is because of him. He started me on that journey, over 20 years ago. So let me get right into it, because I don't want to waste no time. So El Haj Saladin was born of the Sister Clara Muhammad School and Honorable Elijah Muhammad Middle School. Also led delegation to Holy City Mecca and Medina guests of Saudi Arabian government. He is an assistant of the executive director of Women of Impact, which he has given awards to women around the country, and also paid tribute to Muhammad Ali at the United Nations. Just this month, they had a Woman Impact in Dallas, Texas, which they gave awards to exceptional women. Yes. So without further ado, are we gonna stay tuned, get a pen and paper, because he's in his library right now. This man got over 5,000 books. When I bring him in, you're gonna see he's gonna be surrounded by books. I know he has books that he's gonna reference to, because he always say, "Don't listen to me. Go read. Go get the knowledge. Check the facts. Check what I'm saying to you." Always. So I have to say thank you to this man right here. Welcome to the stage, El Haj Saladin.
Can you hear me? Okay, good.
I can hear you.
I want to make sure because you know how
Wel-
technology. And so let me say
welcome.
that,
Welcome. Mhm.
thank you for having me. Uh, I have to open up as always, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Thank you for having me on this podcast. Let me make a correction in the bio that I think you mentioned I was born in the Sister Clyde Muhammad Elijah Muhammad Junior High School. I was the dean there for 8 years. The Sister Clyde Muhammad School was the primary from K to fifth. And then we had the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Middle School, which went from sixth grade to eighth grade. We didn't have a high school in Brooklyn, but we had a high school in Queens. And so I was a dean there for a little over 8 years. Um, just making sure that the children under our care got the best education possible. And we always honored Sister Cloud Muhammad because she was one who started homeschooling, but she's not given the credit in certain social settings or the social structure. She did it back, I think, in the late 30s. She said she was not going to put her kids in a school system that was going to destroy them. Can you hear me? We got cut off.
I can hear you. I just want to give you this your solo stage.
Oh,
So I'm here. You here? You got the
so
solo stage.
oh yeah. So she wind up setting up schools, classes in her home, and eventually it became the University of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Malcolm X. And then when Imam Muhammad came in, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he changed the name from University of Islam to the Sister Cloud Muhammad School, and of course the middle school is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Let me say this to the audience: everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice came on this planet by a woman. You cannot get here without a woman. Everybody came by way of woman. And some may say, well, Jesus, what about Jesus? Well, Jesus had Mary. Mary was his mother. You may say, well, what about the first man? The only people that we know of scripturally that didn't have a mom and a dad and was not attached to the umbilical cord was Adam and Eve. But everybody else, whether you're a thinker, scientist, prophet, whoever you are, chemist, the greatest athlete, you had to come through the birth canal.
Mm,
All of us. And like something that you said in the introduction, we're put on this planet Earth to do a certain uh, job, not the job where you get a pension or a job where you get a paycheck. This work of liberating our people's minds goes unrewarded. And most of our problems, as I've been saying over and over again, and many others, our problems stem from the neck up. The neck up. Most of our problems. Nobody's going to change our condition until we change our own condition. We got to look inwardly. We have to first know ourselves, and when we know ourselves, then we know the creator, and then we realize the situation that we're in. We've been on this continent for a little over 400 years, and it seems to me that we're going around and around in circles because we're not listening to the elders, our grandparents, certain leaders that warned us of this day. And so, being that we're not paying attention, my parents, they came from the South, and I'm quite sure people heard this expression: a hard head make a soft behind. A hard head make a soft behind. What does that mean? It means that when you don't listen to wise counsel and you rebel, then punishment comes. You may call it karma, but the elders knew exactly what they were doing when they told us, when you don't pay attention, there's consequences. There's consequences. And so when we're dealing with the liberation, we have to understand we have to liberate our minds first. But a lot of times we are very slow in responding. And so I know that this podcast deals with mental health issues. I don't know whether or not the audience know this or not, but one of the great leaders of the 20th century, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, allegedly, if suffered with some emotional problems. And some of his lieutenants wanted him to get counseling. But he stood on his ground because I guess he didn't want the publicity. It would have been bad publicity, okay? That they probably say he's incompetent. I mean, he was facing a lot of challenges, okay? Rocks being thrown at him. Even as a young boy, he lived under segregation. And so he suffered with some mental health challenges. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, one of the great leaders, great orators of the 20th century. Many people may say, well, he had everything together. He was a complete package. Yeah, but he suffered trauma, trauma. And so the African American community, most of the places of the inner city, we suffer trauma every day. And when you see murders take place, you as a young person, a young teenager, you see friends and family or your neighbors laying in a pool of blood. What does that do to the psychic? What does that do? It does a lot. You're talking about emotional trauma. And then when they go to school, they're faced with another challenge. Not only are they trying to learn their academics, but they're worrying about what's going to go on outside. Are they going to take my sneakers? Are they going to take my jacket? How can you focus on the problems that's on the board when you fear for your very existence? These are the things. that wear down on us psychologically. And I know now, there's the R word, meaning reparations. Well, the reparations um, is a very, very complicated subject. And most of us don't even know what that means. Some of us think it just means a check. No, it means repairing damage. You have to first repair
Hmm.
damage, meaning that the government was complicit for over 3 centuries in enslaving us. It wasn't just little towns, it was the government. So, how are they going to remedy the situation? Well, there's a lot of different organizations out here now just make it seem as though, well, if the government only write a check, then our problems will be solved. Well, the Bible says a fool with money will depart. And if we don't use our money wisely, we'll give it right back to the BMW dealer, the Mercedes dealer,
Mm-hmm.
involved ill-gotten gains. But there's other ethnic groups. If you gave them reparations in America, they're united and they wouldn't squander their money. They will open up businesses, factories, healthcare centers. We could do it, but we have to think as a community, not as individuals, because the individual effort would never get us where we want. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
until we admit to
I have a
ourselves, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want to get Sister.
no, it's all right. I know
Oh,
you. I know you long winded. But you got so much knowledge. Don't worry. We got 3 episodes. We got three. And
oh,
remember, next episode just gonna be you.
okay,
So,
okay, all right. I don't want to
but
monopolize.
I just wanted to tap in right quick before we bring Brother Destruct on. um, I just wanted to ask you a question because I know you got something for this one. As far as the Black community, how does slavery have an effect on our mental health?
Well, there is a debate about that in certain circles now within the social structure that says that how could a people who were enslaved 3 centuries ago, or let's say after 1865, and people who were born, let's say in 1965, 1970, 1980, how can they uh, feel the effects of slavery? And that's a debatable issue as we speak right now, because there are different groups now and there are different states dealing with the issue of reparations. Well, you can't get reparations until you acknowledge that slavery happened. And so there are opponents that say, well, why should we pay? They weren't under the lash, but we also experienced Jim Crow after 1865. We always heard that expression, the 40 acres and a mule. Well, that was a form of reparation, but we never received that, the 40 acres and a mule, because unfortunately, when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, his vice president, Andrew Johnson, uh, brought about the destruction of Reconstruction. We had banks. I think it was the Federal Bank. Frederick Douglass came to the rescue, but there were people who mismanaged the funds, and so the banks went under. So there are things that we still have visual effects of slavery. We still look
Mm-hmm.
at each other suspiciously. That's why we can't organize, because
Mm-hmm.
this got more education than I have. Or this person's darker. This person's lighter. This one lives in the South. This one lives in the North. This one, our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. We have all these challenges. And so we already acknowledge something happened, but what are we going to do about it? Okay? Our ancestors knew that the way to freedom was education and knowledge, reading books. Because they knew as long as they didn't read and they were uneducated, they will always be at the mercy of the system or the government. But in the modern age, we take education lightly. Now, when I say education, I don't mean just going to the halls of Harvard and Morehouse. You can self-educate yourself. You can educate yourself. But but give me an example. Frederick Douglass was a slave. Frederick Douglass self-taught himself, rose to leadership where he was able to have dialogue with the President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Self self-taught. Booker T. Washington, another one, a slave, educated himself, pulled his dollars, and built the Tuskegee Institute, which became Tuskegee University. We're talking about men and women who was under the lash, who saw their families separated, but they knew the way to freedom was enlightenment, knowledge. When you look at that word freedom, it has two words: free dome. Free dome. We have to free our minds. And you know as well as I, Sister Etoy, that the ancient civilizations of ancient Egypt said, know thyself. We have to know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't know ourselves, I don't care how much money the government gives us. We'll give it right back to the very system that we believe is the source of all our problems. But we're slow. We're
Mm-hmm.
slow. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. I was 10 years old. He was assassinated in 1968, April 4th, 1968. At that
Mm.
time, residential area, which was predominantly Latinos. My parents and people on the block was crying. I was 10 years old. It almost felt to me, I was
Mm.
10 years family member had been murdered because all of the hopes and dreams was in one man, and that was Dr. Martin Luther King. And unfortunately,
Mm.
he was assassinated. But here's a man who graduated at 26 out of Morehouse. He always pursued knowledge. The Malcolm X, another one, an eighth grade student. But he went into the halls of Princeton, of Harvard. He stood on platforms in Harlem, in Brooklyn. I'm talking about Minister Malcolm X, trying to educate our people to the importance of study and knowledge. So we always had leaders who came among us and did most of the heavy lifting. But all we have to do, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. All we have to do is just follow their blueprint, and God willing, we'll be successful. And so
Ashe.
until we understand that, there is no hope for us. Everybody comes here to America to get a piece of the American pie or dream. They make no apologies. Everybody comes in the Black and Latino community and enrich themselves because they already come with a culture. They already come with an identity. They already come with a certain belief system when they come from the Arab states, when they come from North Korea, South Korea, China, Vietnamese, or Vietnam, I should say. They come to America, and usually they come into the Black and Latino community to enrich themselves because we don't understand the importance of saving a dollar and investing our money in our own social structure. And so until we understand, but see, that all comes with knowledge, the knowledge of self, the knowledge of our history. And when you said about slavery, and most of us knew something happened, but what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We can't keep pointing the finger at a group of people who want us to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. Nobody's going to help us but us. Don't look to Africa. All due respect. Africa right now,
Mm-hmm.
certain countries in Africa are going through turmoil right now. The Congo. We got little boys in the mines digging out minerals that they need for this modern uh, world of technology. Okay, Libya is in a mess. Okay, um, there's many countries in the mother continent that still suffering from colonialism. Okay, look at the first country that got its independence, 1801. Our brothers and sisters in Haiti, they got their independence before many African states. We were still under the lash in 1801, but they suffered ever since
Mm-hmm.
because foreign interests, when you talk to some conscious Haitians, they'll tell you because they liberated themselves, that the European powers will punish them forever. But which we know is not going to be ever, because guess what? Suffering is only temporary. Okay? But it's very ironic that they got their independence in 1801.
Yes, that was a lot.
That was
That was a lot. That was.
right.
I knew you was gonna be dropping that knowledge when you got up here.
And let me tell you,
But we
eh,
gotta keep it moving. It's 28 minutes, and we don't forget we gotta bring Brother Destruct on. Go ahead, go ahead, say this part, but we gotta bring
okay,
Brother Destruct on.
yeah, and 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 when we talk about reparations, the Haitian government had to pay France reparations, because France said, because you all kicked us out, we lost our plantations, we lost our businesses. Them,
Mm-hmm.
it's horrible what happened. So I'll just stop right there, and we can bring on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, is he on?
All right, so we gotta move. We gotta move right along.
Okay.
So we got I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. I knew you was gonna come with a whole bunch of knowledge. But remember how you used to always tell me, um, baby food, not steak? I say that to this day.
Yes, yes, yes,
Remember that?
yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Baby food, not steak. So
Right.
I want you to give people baby food right now. Don't give them
Okay.
the steak. I used to always say, babies can't handle the steak. Their stomach cannot digest it.
Right.
Don't worry. I love how
Yes.
you just dropping these bombs. But give everybody the baby
Yes.
food right now. Because I got you for 2 more episodes. And I know it's gonna be good. But I just want to bring in Brother Destruct,
Okay.
okay? So he could tell us about his story and his life, this wonderful artist, this brother from Yonkers.
Right.
He sent me his bio. Um let me see if I can read it. Because I have a stigmatism, and he sent it to me with red letters, but it was my fault. I didn't tell him that I couldn't read it. So I'm just gonna do the best that I can, because I definitely want to read his bio. So about the Struck, inspired by hip hop greatest like Nas, Biggie, Tupac, Wu Tang, go Wu Tang. Those is my cousins. Shout out to my uncle that just passed away. Love you, Daddy-o. As a matter of fact, I dedicated this podcast to him. He used to always say, "Don't think too hard."
Mm.
Onyx, Black Moon, DMX, The Locks, and many others. The Struck began his career at the age of 13, rapping over classic golden era hip hop instrumentals. Deeply rooted in the hardcore 90s feel of hip hop, the Struck is most at home when he embodies the gritty street style which birthed the culture. However, as a musician and the true creative at heart, his versatility allows him to be flawless into other genres of music without even missing a beat. As explosive talented artists who work together and support one another like a musical family. The Struck is also a cast member of the hit of off Broadway show in NYC, Ghetto Chronicles, which is a hip hop musical review. The show has experienced significant success and countless sold out shows. Okay, you better get ahead. Under Explosive Records, Distruck has released three singles: Blessings featuring Nigerian artist K2K received a nomination for an intercontinental music award. So sorry about that. I barely could see. His newest single is "I'm Liddy." It's streaming live on a digital music platforms. So sorry. I just want y'all to see what I'm working with. I could barely see these words with my stigmatism. But I did the best that I can do. So I just want to give a shout out to this brother here. We had a conversation, about how to, what we was going to talk about, and he was dropping some knowledge too. And I said, this is gonna be one hell of a podcast. So let's bring in Distruck from Yonkers.
Good evening, brother and sister. What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Okay, Distruck, you got to come in. You got to come in. There you go.
You got me? You can hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
Can you hear me, E?
I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
we hear you.
All right.
Yep, we hear you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I was sitting here listening to the
Peace and
convo.
greetings.
Peace and greetings. Peace and greetings. I saw you did a good job reading it. My apologies for the red background, though. I didn't create it.
It's okay. It was my apologies for not telling you sooner.
Yeah, but once you said it,
It's all
I
right.
saw. I
So
was like, yeah. I was like, I understand because it's kind of tough to read. Like, I get it. I ain't tripping. But you still did a good job.
it's all right. Well, thank you so kindly. So I just wanted to introduce, to everyone. You have such a spectacular background.
Right.
Like I said before, I want to delve into your childhood, your mental health challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whatever you feel comfortable talking about, this is a safe space, and the reason why I talk about these things, because you never know who's watching, and you never know who may have went through the similar
Exactly.
situation as you, where you could be able to inspire them and motivate them. And also, what did you do, and how did you come up out of that, and what are you doing now? So let's start from who are
From the
you? Who is
beginning.
Destruct?
All right, yeah. Well, from Yonkers, New York, from the projects, from humble beginnings. Had it rough early on, but I was one of the few in my neighborhood that had a mother and a father in the household, and that was extremely rare where I came from. So on the outside looking in, a lot of other kids always thought I had it made automatically because I had both parents. And they didn't know how wrong they were about that. It was a lot. I'm not going to say every day, all the time, but when it was bad, it was really bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot of verbal and physical abuse in the household that I seen firsthand. And it still scars me to this day. Like, seeing, like, your role model put his hands on your mom, like, you can't do nothing about it. And you see it more than once. You see it over and over again. It does something to you. So I became very, very quiet, and then I internalized a lot. And over the years, to as an outlet, when I wasn't playing sports, which was one of my outlets, I picked up the rapping thing. It wasn't music at first. It was just me rapping, like just venting, saying a lot of angry lyrics, a lot of violence, a lot of profanity, just expressing how I felt inside. That's how it started out, and over time, it developed into an actual talent. But that's how I picked up the rapping thing, and through rapping and through sports, I was able to stay out of trouble. That's what helped me cope with what was going on.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
What
Well, if you have any questions, Celadine, you could ask. Like, or, look like you was getting ready to ask him a question.
Hmm.
what in your opinion is the state of rappers? Right now, every time you turn around, weekly, the news media
Hmm.
almost become a occupational hazard to become a rapper. You know, uh,
It's all about the agenda that they're pushing now. Like, when we first, it was about our people. Hip hop was positive at first.
but it was co-opted by the social structure because I remember when rap
Hmm.
started, it was
Hmm.
and some of the rappers even in their lyrics made it kind of comical,
Right.
not minstrel, but the corporate interests. And I call them. There's a book called Stolen Focus, I believe. In there, it talks about um, surveillance capitalism.
Right.
uh, that rap in its genesis was positive. You can debate whether it came out of the Bronx, Brooklyn, but it was a five-borough issue,
Right.
and a lot of the 5% played a heavy role uh, in the implementation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's wisdom. You know, and so the social structure, the people who are in these boardrooms, decided that they were going to invest, but they were not going to invest in brothers and sisters who was talking about the knowledge of self, about
Exactly.
that.
They wanted to usher in the nonsense.
Right. And so they looked elsewhere. They basically, and there's always exception to the rule,
Hmm.
but the West Coast, which the West Coast had its own problems of police brutality, and they kind of glorified gangster rap. Okay. And so they went from the East Coast to the West Coast, and then they decided, okay, let's go south. And then the booty shaking and all that. And so they kind of manipulated the words of inspiration and basically made us basically into caricatures and minstrel. And most of these
Mm-hmm.
people, well, we know, brother, that most of the people that buy the CDs, if they still sell CDs, are Caucasians in the suburbs. Okay, so they masterfully
Mm-hmm.
appropriate our culture, our gifts and talents, and basically became we became on a suicide mission because there were people who had the East Coast, West Coast beef. All of these things started into play, and the people who at the top, who we don't see, was going literally going to the bank because we come from a society that we
I
understand.
agree, and I
Yeah.
agree, and I concur. I agree, and I concur. But I really want Brother Destruct to tell his story.
Yes. Okay.
I want
Yes.
I want him to finish his story, and maybe we can hold our questions to the end. Is
Okay.
that okay?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So do you do you feel comfortable with going into, like, things that you went through, like what was your mental state, or like I said, this is a very safe place. Um and
Like,
you never
yeah,
know who's
like,
watching, you
but
never
back
know
then, like we
who
talked
can
about
be able
earlier,
to motivate.
back then when we talked previously about it. The mental health wasn't a big issue in our community. They didn't highlight it like that, especially with black men. We always assumed, we always expected to just deal with whatever's going on. There was nobody for us to really talk to like that. It was just expected for us to just tough it out regardless. You know what I'm saying? So back then, there was no one to really speak
Mhm.
to about this type of thing. So I didn't trust strangers, so I wasn't gonna talk to a stranger about what's going on in my household. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, through music and me being an athlete, I was able to use those two things to help me cope with what was going on in my household. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a four-sport athlete in school.
Mhm.
I ran track, I played baseball, basketball, and football. And when I wasn't doing that, I was doing the rapping thing. And then over time, it developed. I started getting good at it, and I started to let people hear me because I did it for like 3 or 4 years. It was private. It was just more about me, just just outlet. It was just an outlet for me to get my frustrations out. And that's where my name Distruck come from, because my
Mm-hmm.
father would always tell me, he would always tell me that I hold things in so much that one day I was just gonna explode if I speak to someone. So that's where my rap name came from. But now it's a metaphor that
Mm.
just now it's a metaphor that just explains. It's just a metaphor that explains how dangerous I am as a rapper. Like, leave me alone, respectfully. That's what it is with that.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And and I understand what you mean by that was your outlet, because
Mhm.
that's how I started writing when I was going through things when I was a child. The only how I escaped was I used to write. I didn't like some of the things I didn't like when I used to write, because sometimes I just say I want to kill myself and I hate myself and these things of that nature. But
Right.
I didn't know then that that was me just letting go, and it just traveled with me all the way to an adult. Now I'm doing poetry and spoken word and healing people with my words and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So kudos to you for finding an outlet. I
Right.
understand what brother Saladin was touching on, as far as how they turned our culture into something negative.
Yeah.
Because that was our outlet. They was talking about
Yes.
positive things,
Once they
in the
saw,
when
they left
rap
it
first
alone.
came out.
They left it alone at first because it was new. They thought it was a passing fad, but once they saw how powerful it was,
Mhm.
then that's when they started with the nonsense. They're like, "Oh, nah, we can't have this culture empowering the people like that. Like, we gonna jump in there. We're gonna change this up." Once they see how powerful our
Exactly.
culture is now they came in, and what the brother was talking about earlier, they doing all that now because they seen how influential it is to the world. Hip hop is everywhere on this planet now, and you could put
Mhm.
hip hop in any other genre, and it enhances
Everywhere.
it. That's how strong hip hop is, and they know that. They saw it,
Yep.
and that's why they infiltrated it, and they took all of our the stuff we really need from hip hop, and they put that to the side, and they bring a nonsense to the forefront. It was at one point where it was at least variety,
Mhm.
but now it's just more. It's just 99.9% nonsense now. That's at the top. That's at the forefront. You got to really. It's still the other parts of hip hop, the good parts, the
But that's why
positive
people
parts, are
like
still
us,
there.
that 1% gotta do that work.
It's still there, but you just got to look harder for it. It ain't.
Mhm.
It's not easy to find like it was in the beginning. Like with the X Clan, the poor righteous teachers, and all that. African
Mhm.
Bear Bada and all little KRS One. They're not
Mhm.
gonna put that to the forefront. They don't want us being empowered.
But I have a question, Destruct. Have you um
Mhm. So
from
so what it
I can't hear.
yeah.
have you
I can't
reached out?
hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you was going in and out. I hear you now.
Okay. Have you reached out to some of your colleagues in the rap game that may suffer with the same issues that you face?
My colleagues right now, everybody that I know that rap, everybody's in their own world with it. Like, I don't. We see each other when we see each other, but everybody has their own opinion on what's going on. It's like everybody don't see stuff the way I see stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are okay with it. Some people go with whatever's going on. They just want to be. They just want to be seen with whatever's hot. They just want to stand next to whatever's popping at the time.
Hmm.
And if you're trying to spit knowledge to a lot of people, they don't
Mm.
want to hear it. So I go by who the individual I'm dealing with at the time. Most people just they don't want to hear
Mm.
what they need to hear. They want to they it's monkey see monkey do right now.
Mm, mm,
That's what
mm.
I'm experiencing.
Right.
Mhm.
So I stay out the way. I say to myself, I do me, and I pray for everybody. But
But
I'm not. I have a thing where if I feel like
I say. So what are you
I'm
doing
not gonna
now?
reach you. Say again. Say it again. I said like
I said,
if
what are you doing now?
what am
I
I
said,
doing
what are
right
you
now?
doing now with yourself?
What right now? I just started making my own concerts called the
Yep.
Explosive Show. I had my first one January 28th. It was a
Mm.
great show, and it's a mixture of hip hop artists, singers, comedians, whoever. Like it's not my shows are just not even though I'm a hip hop artist, my shows have variety in them. That don't mean I just want to hear a whole bunch of rap. Like I want to hear
Mm.
spoken
Mm.
word. I want to hear soul singing, comedy. It's a whole show, and
Mm.
it's a diverse crowd, diverse audience. So I'm doing that. I'm about to release new music. I got this new single
Mm.
I'm gonna release in June called Grown Folk Talk off my next project coming up, and it's just gonna be songs with just me on it,
Mm.
like
Okay.
front to back, just me by myself, no features, nothing. I'm gonna test myself, see if I could do a great body of work by myself, because a lot of artists these days, a lot of their albums they sound like compilations albums, like
Mm.
they're too dependent on other artists. So
Mm.
I want to see if I could. It's coming along
Mm.
well so
Mm.
far. I got a lot of different, like I'm a different, like I go by what the beat does tells me to do. I'm a versatile artist. Like I got different layers to me, so I could do something you wouldn't expect me to do, and be like, oh, this dude is yeah. I got a lot in the tank, so
Mm.
that's how I move with the music. So I got that going
Mm.
on. I'm a co-owner of a battle rap league with Showtime TV.
Okay. Well, speaking of music, do you mind if I share the video that share your song?
Yeah, that's from my last project. That's my younger brother, Six Civil. It's me and him. It's called Ten Toes. Last 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 song off the album that I have out right now
So I'm
called
getting ready to share
No
my
Substitute.
screen. Okay. You can continue to talk about what you're doing now, while I share my screen
Okay.
and
Yeah,
pull
so
up your
basically that. Oh,
video.
I'm waiting on some. I'm also waiting on some movie roles and stuff like that. Cause I'll be on the screen doing the movie thing. So I'm waiting to hear back about that. Some different roles. I'm constantly working. So yeah, I got those three things going on right now. And aside from the music thing, I'm also a professional driver. So I break that stereotype too, because all of us aren't ex-cons and like drug dealers and stuff like that. That's how I fund my career. I got a Class B CDL. I work for a limousine company, one of the biggest in the state. I drive anything from a sedan to a bus. And through that, 20 years, professional driver, one of the top drivers in my company. And that's how I fund my career with the music. Like, you know what I'm saying? So all positive hustle. So all the people out there that think you got to go the wrong route to make money, you don't. You got options out here. You don't got to take it that route.
Mm. But that's yeah, that's interesting. And I hope and pray to Allah that you successful. Um, because right now, to be a positive rapper, and there's some out there,
Mm,
but they're not being put before us compared to those who using the words in a destructive manner.
mm,
Because most of us don't understand the power of words, and if we did, we would be a lot more careful in promoting death and destruction in our community. Because most of us don't have a filter uh, to realize that a lot of these lyrics, almost like acting, a lot of these things that these brothers and some of these sisters are rapping about
mm,
is not a reality in their life. Some of them came from, like you mentioned earlier, from two-parent household,
mm.
live middle class and upper middle class neighborhoods. They don't know what it is.
Never missed a meal. They they
Absolutely,
had a decent life. They had a decent. They don't know about struggle like that.
absolutely,
That's
and
nothing to play with. That's nothing to play about.
that's right. They don't know nothing about gang life. They don't know about eating a mayonnaise sandwich with no meat in it. Okay, just the mayonnaise and the bread. But they rap about that. And some of them have skillfully, either knowingly or unknowingly, sparked a lot of hostility in our community with words. And so we got to be careful with words.
Right.
Understand the power and the wise use of words. Destruct. Go ahead, brother. I don't want, yeah. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah. But it's like I have a different take on it. I had to learn too to get certain people's attention. You kind of have to say certain things to get their attention, and then once you got their attention, then you can tell them what you really want to tell them, and that's been working for me very well. Because I have songs where I might say some stuff that might spark their attention. Because sometimes if you come out straight up with the knowledge off the top, falling on deaf ears, they don't want to hear that. So I'm like, all right, because I pay attention to people, especially the crowds I'm around. So I say some things that they're accustomed to hearing, some things that they want to hear. I give them that to get their attention. Then I hit them with the grown man, hit them with that grown man talk. And it usually works for me. It works for me.
Well, it works. It works for Hollywood, and it works for, because you have some people in film, you know, they put film to make you laugh, and then maybe serious film. But the social structure in Hollywood don't even want trade positively. I mean, look, who won the Academy Award? Just think, a talented brother from your neck of the woods out there in Mount Vernon, Denzel Washington.
When he should have been won it for something, he should have been won one before that.
Right. Most people
he could have got it for X.
Absolutely, but they didn't give it to him. They gave it to him. They awarded to him. They awarded that to him, to a thug cop, a rogue cop. Okay.
I didn't realize that was loosely based on an actual crooked cop. I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Till recently, I was like, wow.
Yeah, a cop in California. Okay. Same thing with Halle Berry.
That was crazy.
I didn't know that
That
either.
was even crazier.
Just now.
That was even crazier than Denzel's.
Right.
Why she got it? Because let's keep it 100. That it wasn't that great of a movie, and we've seen her do way greater performances than that.
Right.
You could have got it for Dorothy Dandridge. Why should you for that?
Absolutely. But these caricatures, with the people who set up these committees, because they are committees to decide. He should have got it for Malcolm X. He should have got it for a number of roles that
he could have got it, a supporting actor for Glory.
That's what I'm right. With Morgan Freeman was in there, and it talks about those who fought in the Civil War, which was but they don't, a positive depiction of people of color in Hollywood. Right. And that's why those two actors, who are fine actors, wind up getting that little statue in a demeaning role. So we have a lot of, well, you're an entertainer, actor.
I'm actually a thespian because I did the play for 4 years, so I'm an actual thespian.
Oh man, so you're following in the tradition of Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson. Oh, he was a thespian. He went to university. He was a singer. He knew multiple languages. But the government said it's still an N. And there were some of our people who were actors.
So I hate to cut this conversation short, gentlemen. I hate to cut this conversation short, gentlemen. But we got it's 8:56 and we got to be pressed for time.
Okay.
This has been an amazing conversation. Destruct. I'm not sure if you was able to see the video that did you see the video?
I tried to pull the video enough. I don't have to see it. I've seen it enough. Like I didn't see it on my end, but I wasn't checking.
I was trying to let the audience see it.
Long as the audience saw it, that's fine. But I don't need to see it. That's fine. I've seen it enough. It's fine.
I'm
I
not
didn't need
sure
to
if they
see
saw
myself
it.
on
And just like Brother Chandler told us earlier, me and him is about to be about the airport. So what
it.
you
Right,
said, being
right.
that we by the airport, our connection is always gonna be janky.
Yeah, yeah. I
And I
seen it. It
couldn't
was going in and
understand,
out
like
a
I
lot.
got everything. I got everything
Right.
hooked. Yeah, this is
Hmm.
it's just a mess. I'm by the airport. Excuse me, I told y'all gonna see me make mistakes.
Yeah.
Long as the message
That's
gets
nothing you
through,
can. That's
that's
nothing
all
you
that
can do
matters.
about that. That's
So is
the
anything
airport thing.
else that you want to say before you get out of here?
Yeah. Follow me on all platforms. Is the same.
Right.
914
So
struck.
Destruct, do you is anything else?
Hmm? Say it again.
914 struck. You heard it there.
914 struck.
I just want to say thank
All platforms.
you. I said 914 struck. I want to say
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you for your patience. My information. He asked me to be on my podcast 2 years ago. Right? A lot of things was going on. I'm not going to get into so many details, what was happening. But this man has been so patient. And I just want to say thank you so much. It just has been a pleasure to have you on. You have to come back. I feel like
Definitely,
as
I'll
if
be
you
back.
need more
But
time,
you're gonna be a
it's
part of
just
one of
that
my shows. We already spoke to that.
we only have an hour show.
That's cool.
Yes, so I'm gonna be on the Struck's explosive concert,
Hmm.
and I'm also gonna be on his podcast as well. So I look forward to. I'm going to give y'all the information. Yes, the Struck is out here doing big things. Please don't get it mistaken. I said that in my last podcast. Please do not judge a book by its cover because you never know how God is working people to heal you and come and do the work in the community. So I just want to say
Right.
thank you so much. Thank you for being so patient with me. Are doing, and I look forward to the work that we are going to do in the future.
Definitely. Thanks for having me again. Y'all
All
be
right.
safe. Enjoy the rest of your night. Take
All
care.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You too. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Brother Chandler, Elhad Saladin. It was such a great time having you here. You the one that said you long winded. I'm long winded. I know but I think I may need you more than three. I think I may need you more than three shows because you are long winded, and and you are long winded because you have so much knowledge and you're trying to get everything out. But I'm asking you like how you used to say to me, baby food,
Right.
baby
Right.
food.
Right.
Because you have a bunch of knowledge. Now remember, I'm not sure if you guys was here for the whole show today. Brother Saladin said that you could self-educate. And most of his knowledge that he has is from all them books that he had that see him back there. He studies, he studies, he studies, he studies, he studies, and he always tell me to study. Whatever I tell you, go and research it for yourself. And then he would send me pictures of pages and books and books and books, and everything he send me, he has it highlighted. Next episode, I'm going to show that. I'm pull it up. I'm going to have it ready. I'm going to show how all of the information you send me. And I just want to say thank you so much because I need you here because I need you on this show for the next few shows to drop this knowledge.
Okay.
You have been doing this work longer than I've been born, and I
Right. Right.
appreciate you so much. So, is there any last words that you would like to say?
Well, I was this knowledge is power. And the word knowledge, if you break it down in a compound word, it says no ledge. No ledge. There's no ledge to knowledge. There's no edge. Knowledge is infinite. And every waking hour that we wake up, that God, Allah bless us to wake up, we should be pursuing reading some book, some sentence to inspire us to continue the struggle of liberation for not just black people, for all humanity. It's about all humanity because
Hmm.
ancient, Greece came to Egypt. It wasn't the other way around because they were the people who had the knowledge. And
Hmm.
so it's all about knowledge. Get the knowledge yourself. That's all I have to say. Know thyself. Why would the ancients put it in
Know thyself. And what you said, knowledge, knowledge.
yeah, no ledge. No ledge. When you put both of the words together,
Yeah.
you got no ledge. Knowledge is infinite. But we waste
Hmm.
time.
And that's what I love about you. Like you always break down the words. I remember you
Yeah.
used to say to us, because I met, just to give a little brief history, I met Brother Chandler when I was working at K Jewelers. He was the security there, and he used to hold classes, and I used to just sit there like this and just listen to him for hours and hours and hours. Um, and he used to every time he talk about something, he always break down the words, and one of the words that used to break down was six. Remember what you say about
Yeah.
six?
Yes. Yeah. I
Six.
mean,
What is
yeah.
that? The snake, and what is it shaped like? And very metaphysical with you. I know you get more deeper. Don't worry. You got a few more shows to get more deeper into it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. If you have any more last words, I just want you can get ahead.
Well,
We can make it out of here.
I think I thank you, thank Allah, I thank the Most High for you having me and brother Destruct. And so I hope and pray that your podcast be successful. And it's not all about clicks and algorithms. We get that, but I hope and pray that your podcast is a clean glass of water. Okay, you don't have to condemn a dirty glass. Just put a clean glass.
Ashay.
Okay,
Mm.
that's all you have to do. Put a clean glass. A person who's right
Ashay. Whew.
will drink a glass of water. You ain't got. I mean, the dirty glass. Just put a clean glass beside it. That's it. So you that clean glass. There you go. There it is. There it is. I even
That's amazing how you said that.
yeah, yeah. We don't have to
That's
keep.
amazing. So I just want to say thank you. I'm gonna call you, afterwards,
Yes,
and we're gonna get up out of here. We press for time. It's 9:04.
yes.
Because sometimes I will go long. And one time I went to the podcast 2 hours. I don't want to do that. Last podcast I went an hour and a half. So I don't want to bore everyone. We want to leave them on a cliffhanger. Yes, brother Elhar Saladin will be back next Thursday to keep dropping the knowledge. And next episode, he's going to be by himself. He's going to have the show all to himself. So, Chandler, get your talking points ready. Whatever you want to teach, and please be open to me asking you questions. I'm
Oh,
going to have to cut you off every now and again to ask questions, and please comment, call in, ask him questions. He loves to teach. This is what he's here to do. And I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And we'll talk about how we reconnected on the next episode.
oh. All right, all right. So thank you for having me once again. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
You're welcome. Take care. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, 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 yes. That was an amazing show. I was just was so elated to have Destruck and El Haj Saladin. I know him as Chandler. So I have to get used to saying El Haj Saladin, El Haj Saladin, El Haj Saladin. And that's out of respect to him because he has put that work in and for him to get that name, for him to get that title. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you so kindly for joining in. Like I said, with this podcast, when it comes to me, anything that could go wrong will go wrong. That's just the ways of the Lord for me. My internet, I do everything. I try my best to make sure I have the top notch everything. But El Har Saladin, he lives not too far from me, and he reminded me. He's because his connection was going a little, it was a little wacky in the beginning, and he said that we by the airport. So being that we by the airport, what they doing over there, we live so close. I can literally look out the window and see the airport from my house. So if you just please bear with me with my podcast, this season is gonna be better than the first season. And last season was awesome. So I'm just happy that you guys are still here with me. Y'all so patient with me with my connection because sometimes you can get turned off. I know I would get turned off if somebody internet connection is not ain't the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, I kind of want to say a poem before I get out of here. This one is called Trauma Healing. I'm not sure if y'all got. I don't. Yeah, I didn't hear this one. I wrote this one, a few months ago, and this one is called Trauma Healing. I'm gonna leave y'all one with this. Have you ever been through something in relationship or a friendship, and it was so much trauma in it, but you saw the silver lining in it, and you was able to get healing from it because it was like aha moments, like the light bulb like over my head. It was aha moments. Yeah. So I want to spit this for y'all right quick. I didn't even practice. I don't even know why. I just said I wanted to do that, but I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna be out. And I want to thank my homegirl Thomas for this. She inspired me to write this. She pushed me. Inundated with atrocities, listen to these false fallacies. This trauma is only half of me. Infinitely enlightened, this shit can't package me. Benediction on me, tootly on me. Actually, that trauma manufactured the warrior in me. Hardline damn near went flizzat. In the mental asylum, mine going whizzat. Then the self-talker said, don't worry, E, we gonna get biz at. Infatuated with subject and vibes. Dancing with the devil felt appealing, but yet throughout the trauma was healing. Ironic is what I used to say. While I used to meditate and puff on that chronic. But where's the logic? Do I enjoy the hamster wheel of self-inflicted pain? Nah. This is what happens when your ancestors' pain is deep rooted within your veins. Rooted. That word rooted. As I dig up the roots from the sycamore tree, using the power that my great grandmother left me from the Geechee gullet with it. I am my ancestors' dreams, so I dare these trauma demons to come fuck with it. To survive, my ancestors ate their own defecation. They passed the torch of agony, and I transformed their agony to a constipation to abolish the constipation. Use and abuse, I paid my dues. Now I make my own rules. Feeling the muse. How you try to figure out how I turned this trauma of healing into a muse. I'll check you guys later. Thank you so kindly for staying tuned. Thank you so kindly for being here with me all this time. And thank you so kindly for your patience. I love y'all. Peace.